People, welcome to the Dude's Abode. Today's going to be something different because everything we do is different. How many of you have seen this book right here? Well, it's something I worked up in the event that if I ever got a Nexus animated series, this will be ready to pass out to all the animators, all the layout guys, all the producers, the directors, even the guy who sweeps the floors. We're going to be looking into this book today, and we're going to be drawing 4 of the most popular characters in the Nexus pantheon. Here's a glimpse of the book right here that I assembled with the help of the Nexus crew. Figure construction. Who can go wrong with that, right? Can you get any more simple than that? No. What not to do. That's always a big one. That goes over well. The difference in male and female heads. How to construct the heads. Storyboards. Pretty cool, huh? These are some actual storyboards from the Johnny Quest show from 1964. You can see how loose they are. Because when everything is in-house, you don't need to communicate to people who speak a different language. Interiors. Believe me, folks, everything is covered here. And now we get the Nexus himself. Tall, lean, male model type build. Always present, always present him as formidable and mysterious due to his incredible power. Well, that's no problem. I can do that. And so can you. Construction, figure construction, headshots, head turns, blah, blah, blah. Is there no end to it? No, apparently not. Gestures. This is something we're going to be looking at today as we move forward with these sample drawings here. There's Thunderpeel. Everyone loves Thunderpeel. Everyone loves the good blonde. And she is the prettiest girl in the world, except for Gino Ginelli that I married, because I invented her. Here's Thunderpeel. 2 different outfits. Everybody see that? Good. Women don't dress the same way every day, so they change their outfits. So we have these basic 2 outfits that everyone's going to be using to animate Thunderpeel. Head turns. Can't live without those. Expressions. Look at how happy she is. Look at how mad she is. Supporting characters. This is our lucky day. These are people that are going to be in the very first episode of Nexus. The Island group, the Earth group, the bad guys, and more bad guys. This comes in later on in the story. Who knows Dave? Everyone loves Dave. This is Dave. Dave is a Thune. He comes from the planet Thune. And don't call him fat because he's not. How to draw the Dave mannequin. All this stuff is so important. You guys that work in animation and really any artistic field know how important these gesture mannequin drawings are. And it extends down to the head. These things are not easy to draw, and that's why we always draw these up to help everyone who is going to be contributing to the show. And it takes a while to get to know these things, these characters. I don't think they come out of somebody's pencil full blown. So Judah Maccabee, the Hammer, I call him Fred. You can call him Fred too. He's going to be another drawing that we're going to be doing today. Sorry guys, you're not going to get a chance to see Joe Coy to Smoot 9, the sex kitten. But here she is anyway. The next 4th character we're going to draw today is Creed. He's a goofy trained assassin. He's got 4 arms. Don't mess with him. So as we zoom in on that and get a good look at the characters I'll be drawing, I will temporarily put this aside, as in over here. And I guess we can start with the... why don't we just start with randomly choosing one here. Let's make this Judah Maccabee, the Hammer. Fred to you, Fred to me. So I'm going to pin this up so everyone can see it really well. And I'm going to grab one of these Derwent drawing pencils that you've seen me use the last couple of live streams. And you can also see I'm working on specialized 12-field animation paper. This is the paper that they've been using for the last couple billion years until the computers took over. But I'm kind of an old-fashioned guy, and I'm kind of big on still working on paper the way I was trained. So let's do a drawing. Let's do a drawing this way of Judah Maccabee. I'm deciding whether I should do the blue pencil part of it first or not. This is a blue pencil, but it's not a color erase pencil like we care, right? So, basic forms, basic forms. Everyone in the business goes with basic forms. Now remember, you don't have to start with a head. There's no law that says you have to do that. Now there's just some law that I don't know about. When I'm drawing these characters, I'm thinking of the same things you'll hear over and over from animators, comic book artists, illustrators, and that is you need to come to a point when you actually think of these things as dimensional, round, in the round. This is only one view of an actual living being who has 4 different sides to him. Another mistake people make when they're drawing this character, when I'm not around to monitor him, is that he's an ape. He doesn't have human proportions, he's an ape. So what I'm trying to do now is do the gesture and the mannequin at the same time. So gorillas have long waists, short legs. I want to make that joke about the Fred flying in from the airport and how tired his arms are, but I think we've exhausted that one already. So there's the gesture, guys. Now to make it more visible and to entertain you even further, I think I'm ready to go in here with the final lines that make up Fred. I'm going to ignore little things like his wrist things at the moment. This is only possible because of practice, nothing but practice. People that know me know that I'm kind of big on that. Listen to those crying dicks. They're all dick rolling right now. You have to know anatomy, and if you're going to go into a business like animation, you especially need to know how to streamline the figures. Take all the ins and outs of the muscles out and just go for the main cursive lines, which is what I'm trying to show you here. Sometimes I like to break up the joints like this so I'm aware of exactly where I'm going to be putting in a new form. I was just looking at feet today at the gym. I almost got arrested, but it's okay. There's a thickness here where the bones come together. I think it's the tibia and whatever the hell it is. I don't know. It's been a while, guys. We definitely want to give him a thin waist because all super guys are incredibly fit. So rather than going in like this, like a lot of people might do, and put individual things down, I'm putting in the entire thing down first in a series of sweeping lines. And then the details can come over that. This is the soundest procedure that I know about how to draw. Hands, who needs them? Well, I suppose we gotta bite it here. And hands are hard mostly because, well, they're hard. To think dimensionally with hands is, honest to God, guys, I've been working on this for as long as I've been drawing. And it's just nuts sometimes trying to figure out hands in the round. And it's obvious. What the heck? It's a dick. It's obvious that the reason they're hard is because there's so many little joints in there. The foot and the toes have the same amount of carpals and divisions and hinge joints as the hand. But feet are looked at a little differently. They're hard enough as it is. So I'm working my way up to the head here. Okay, so he's got a sword, right? Okay, so let's do the sword. The way I'm going to do it is draw the sword first and have the hand come over it. Whenever Mr. Producer's around, we always have the household dicks going mental. And the dick rolling begins. So there's our hand. Remember we talked about hands last time? There's your base, the wedge, and the things that come out of it. It's got a curve to it from the front view. So it looks kind of like that. The thumb hangs at the very side. And the fingers extend actually at a point there. That's where the skeleton starts, with the fingers. Silence, animal. Okay. So we've got Fred's hand, and we're going to put a sword in there, okay? With some luck, I'll be able to pull it off. If you guys have never thought dimensionally before, that is the literal secret of drawing. He's got a short sword, like as with the Romans. Okay, he's got that symbol right here, the hammer. It's slightly slanted. This 12-field animation paper that you see here is very smooth, and that's how we're able to get a lot of the smoothness of the pencil lines. Extend his muzzle because he's an ape. Animal. The dicks always want to get in on the hands. He's got sideburns, if you want to call him that. Let's give him a happy face. He's having a nice day today. Put the ears in. The ears, you got to know how the ears sit on the side of the head, and then you have to know. What do you have to know? You have to know the simple anatomy that comes about from these simple things. He's a little hunched up, so I'm going to bring his neck down a little bit, and then all the details can come in. You know, his armor, based on Roman armor, because that's what he bases himself on, ancient Earth, even though he's not from Earth. And he's got the metal loin thing going on here, and he's got the scabbard. Well, I'm glad I remembered that word. For the sword. And it actually straps on. It could be magnetically strapped on, or it could be literally strapped on with something that extends from the belt, which is right here. He's got his little symbol down there, which we haven't finished yet. So how fun does this look, guys? Because if it looks fun, it is fun. And the more practice you have, the funner it gets. A few more accoutrements in the army here, and the armor here. Fred is not part of the army. I suppose we have to put in the soles of our shoes here. These are also metal. I always have trouble with these skinny parts here. So there, in all his glory, is Fred Judah Maccabee. Do we want to put in some of the blacks? Well, why not? Anything to hold an audience. So how's your day going, guys? Let's hear from you.
I had someone tune in from France named Vincent. He said it's 10:30 p.m. there in France.
Aha! Did you hear that, guys? 10:30 p.m. in France. That's what I'll say. We can add some tones if we want to show off a little bit. Anyway, study the way metal reflects, because it has to reflect what's around it. If it's not around it, it won't reflect it. So keep that in mind when you're doing something like armor and reflections. But try to study it a little more than a simple passing kind of a notice, because you're going to be, any illustrator is going to be drawing these for the rest of his life. So it's always best to really get to know these things and make it a practice to get to know these things for your entire career. Fred is done. I hear Fred applauding. Very good. Thank you, Fred. You're welcome, Fred. And we're going to move this drawing off. And we are going to, sorry, Fred. Let's work on this guy right here. The four-armed Quattro, Creed. See, Creed is huge. See that, guys? Of course you do. Grab some of my 12-field paper, my beloved 12-field paper. Tape it up just to keep it steady. There, it's steady. You guys entertain yourself while I go get a drink. I'll be right back. Oh, I believe I've seen the unmute sign there. So what is this stuff right here? 10 calories, 1 can, no kidding. Protein 0, carbs 0, sugar 0. What's in this stuff besides carbonation? It's pretty carbonated.
We got a comment that says, went to the comic book store today with my 10-year-old and was depressed at the horrific state of mainstream comics.
You guys hearing this? Is that it? Well, that sums it up, doesn't it? Someone walked in to get a comic at a comic book store and was appalled at the state of the industry by what they're putting out nowadays. Let me tell you, folks, if you had grown up in the 60s, and even if you hadn't, I would take a 15-cent or 12-cent comic book over the billion-dollar movies we're making of these characters of Marvel right now. And you can take that to the bank. Okay, Creed. Where's our blue pencil here? This is going to be our blue pencil. So we don't want to duplicate ourselves here. So it's not like we're rock stars where we have to sing the same song for the next 40 years. We can always do something new. Let's see. So you see I'm working out the gesture in my mind. You see how simple it is, right? I want the head to be very forward. Just because that, as part of the gesture, this looks good. Are these forearms going to be a problem, Steve? Well, let's find out, Steve. Get his head down first before you start going into the cloak and the hood and all that kind of stuff. There, he's looking at you. Because we're artists, and we can do anything.
The person tuning in from France is asking a question and says, what's the most difficult character you had to draw in a comic book, created either by you or another artist?
I don't really look at things like that way. When you're an artist, you take what you're given and you make the best of it. But I can't think of anything that was any harder than the rest of them. It's all drawing. It's all basic form, and it's part of what you do, that you've trained yourself to do for your whole life.
Another commenter said, I read your Nexus/Madman crossover today.
Yeah, that was done. Funny story about the Nexus Madman thing. Baron wrote it. Mike already changed it. I drew it, and I inked it too. There's a lot of in jokes going on in the Nexus Madman book, of which we are very proud. I don't know what to do with this other arm here, but we'll figure it out. See, that's as literally as soft as I'm going to get with this stuff right here. Looks like he's doing the Macarena. Hands. We talked about hands. We'll always be talking about hands. Remember to think dimensionally, guys. Think basic, basic, basic. Because that's how all of us artists bail ourselves out of things that are hopelessly complex, is by remembering that these things all can be broken down to basic shapes. I think his mouth is up a little too high. So for that, we invented the eraser, just for this live stream. Let's open up his mouth, which means he's probably saying something. You guys supply the line. I'll just draw it. Remember, the mouth has a shape like this from the top, guys, and that's all part of thinking dimensionally that I keep bringing up to you all out there. Feet. When I'm animating, when I'm learning how to animate, I discovered this very basic secret, and that is feet stay planted on the floor. And if you're going to make somebody move, remember that the feet are the thing that propels it. The legs and the feet. Starts with the feet because they're bonded to the ground. Let's do our little shade and number here to show that's. And let's get serious about the anatomy here. A lot is mentioned about the anatomy that we have to learn. Well, it's true. It's just another thing that we're responsible for working at and learning in order to get good. I know what you're thinking. All of you want to get good, so there's a secret right there. So let's. This is why the model sheet comes in handy, in case I forget how to draw my own characters. He's got massive thighs. So, by the way, this is something I learned in the Calabasas school a long time ago in the 90s. This is called line 1 and line 2. That's important. Line 1 and line 2 and the distance between them show you how thick or thin something is. This is line 1, this is line 2. It's a lot thinner than this line 1 and this line 2. This is a thinner line 1, line 2. This is thicker. You guys get what I'm talking about? You're just that smart. In anatomy, boy, nobody wants to omit learning anatomy. What are some of the things people are reluctant to learn that you cannot go forward until you do? One of them is perspective. The other is I don't know. I don't know what the other one is. I think they're both perspectives. But you see the way this is the way I've trained myself and been trained through all the study that I've done. This is the arm right here. That's the way it starts out, okay? And then you modify that. Actually, that's the wrong place for another arm to come out. But hey, license, right? This is animation. He's moving his arm in a different way. There you go. Okay, so, but you see the way I'm doing this, right? These are all joints. Joint here, This is one long bone. Let's see, what do I want to do with the hand here? First of all, I'm going to block it off the wrist so I know how long the wrist is going to be. And looks like I'm getting carried away with this blue pencil stuff here. I don't know if we'll get around to a black one. Sorry, that sounds racist. First, I'm going to block in the wedge, okay? And when I'm drawing this thumb, I'm thinking of it dimensionally. See, here's what's going on. This is the view you're seeing, but there's also that view. There's this view. There's this view, and there's that view. And these are things that everybody, if you want to be good, and not just to be another ordinary artist, which I know none of you do. I know you're all going to work hard to become something extraordinary. Because that's what you have to strive for, guys. You know that. When you're, I don't like to really use the word competing, but in essence, that's what you're doing. You're competing with guys that if they're better than you, they're going to get the notice.
Got a comment from Andy B. He says, "Hey there, I'm new to your channel, but I find I'm really into your classic comic style. I love the clarity and appeal of the shapes, and it makes me want to learn from it."
And then that's what I call an eager beaver right there. Obviously, Andy is going to be going to the top of the heap within the next 5 minutes, easily. Yeah, classic is what I'm all about. Those are my that's my sense of what I wanted to do as an artist. Everyone has their preferences. Mine, hey, I'm going to show you a book right here. Okay, you just hang in there, guys. Whoa! Okay, you talk about classic. This is more classic than you can shake a dick at. Sorry. This is the work of Hal Foster. This strip was started, I believe, in the 1930s. And let me show you what this guy is all about here, okay? I'm going to get to a page that, well, there's Hal right there. Getting an award from Janet Leigh, who starred in Psycho. Isn't there a big thing that I'm looking for here that I can't find? Well, that would be typical, wouldn't it? Here's, these are all taken from the originals. So for guys like me and guys like you that are interested in classically trained artists, guys that make things look real and not super exaggerated, which seems to be the style of the last 20 years. This is the ultimate classicist right here. Just check this stuff out, guys. I'll turn the pages very slowly. The detail in this is absolutely bonkers. And this is the size of it. The size of this reproduction right here, taken from the originals. This is probably half the size of the original paper size that he worked. Can you believe that? His single Sunday strip would take up more than this entire board right here. You see how big this is, how long that is. He preferred to do that because of the detail that he had to incorporate in the incredible amount of research. That alone would kill most people. But here's a guy, let's just call it what it is. He knew how to draw everything, literally everything. He was a guy that inspired guys that we've covered in the past, like Jack Kirby. Look at all the nice white space here. He doesn't overwhelm everything with detail, detail, detail. There's an actual path, an eye path that he's well aware of, as well as leaving room for color. That is very evident in these pages right here. Where's that gigantic? Oh, I know it's in a different book. Let's go to the sexy stuff here. Here's Lita. That's his love interest here. There she is. Isn't that her? Yeah, that's her. Okay. Everyone needs a love interest. That's Prince Valiant's, a beautiful blonde named Alita. These stories are so compelling that people like Ray Bradbury would write in and tell them how excited they were to see what was going to happen next week. This was only a Sunday strip. Can you imagine trying to do this as a daily strip? Neither can I. But that's a little glimpse at what I consider the literal best drawn and written comic strip ever done. And remember that comic books came from comic strips. And that's one of the reasons you see me talking about the work I'm doing in Nexus as not a comic book. It is a comic strip. And I intend to keep it that way because it's something different. So you can see everything that's going on here, right? There's no obfuscation. There's no whatever. It's simple stuff. But as you know, simple is the last thing to be understood. So I'm going to put these little leather stripes, leather, whatever they're called. Am I thinking dimensionally as I do this? Yes, I am. These boots that he's got, they have a lot of appeal to it. They're just fun to look at. Ooh, let's see. So he's got these black wristbands, and he's got this thumb thing going on that connects to the middle finger here. I like to think practical when I'm doing these things. And by God, practical is what we're going to get. Here you can see from the top view here, if I can figure this out, how it works on the hand. Let's block that in right there. You'll also see me using the side of the pencil a lot. That's another part of the training of illustrators. Good, I don't have to draw that symbol on his belly there. I'm glad to have got away with that. So let's this top piece that he's got, very interesting. Well, I designed it. It better be. I'm not going to go around things like these little rivets here. They're going to be part of how I construct this, construct the big to the little stuff. He's got belly fat, you see. Oh, you know that rule what Disney's always talking about, right? A straight versus that kind of thing. If you don't know it, look it up. It's cool. You'll never forget it. So anyway, drawing like this, you'll see a lot of guys drawing holding the pencil like this. It's either this or this. And this way you tend to use your whole arm rather than just your wrist. See, that's the difference. He's got pecs. And there they are. We're going to delineate a few muscle groups here. Now you see how well the side of the pencil gets the point across.
We have a commenter who says, you have very good posture on your drawing table. Very smart not to lean in too much. Everyone talks about the art, but never about to not destroy your body.
I love that one. Hey, thanks for the comment. That's really good. I keep good posture because if you don't, you look like a wimp. And you're going to hurt your back. Do I have to do another hand here? Help me out, guys. What should this hand be? Well, first it's got to have that wedge thing going on, right? And it's got to have this dimension to it. You see what's going on there, guys? The wrist is going to go up a little bit. There was a guy that taught me these great tricks about essentially rubber hosing things at the first time. Like this arm would be like that, and the hand would be like that. And then you can go in, once you've got the flowing gesture down, and then you can start adding the things that make it, the construction that makes it look like what it's supposed to look like. So far, so good. Remember where remember these dimensions right here in the hand. I'm keeping these shapes very simple. And I'm also keeping them in perspective. Yeah, hands and everything else in here have a sense of perspective to them. Guy doesn't seem to have fingernails, so I got away with doing that. Okay. And then things go over this. Back to the side of the pencil. I'm still going to ask if we have any people watching from Tasmania, because I'm really big on visiting there. I want to see my friends, the Tasmanian wolf, echidnas, and those platypuses with the dangerous spur on the end of their feet. Let's put the hood on, and we're gonna be done. I always love it when I see stuff in animation that's considered rough. Of course, they spell it R-U-F-F because they're lazy. When I get into animation, it's going to be spelled out the right way, R-U-F. So this thing right here, the way it works, I know that it, well, good thing for these side views, huh? I was about to commit a drastic error by not even looking at my own sheets here. Let's block in the hood here. You see what I mean, guys? Front view, side, 3/4 back, complete back. All of this helps. Oh, you know what? He's got this brow thing going on there. Otherwise, he looks too nice. How does that phrase go? He'd kill you as soon as look at you, whatever that means. So there is Creed. Creed the what? Creed the Gucci trained assassin. You saw how I did it. You saw how fundamental everything starts out. That's important. And we're going to remove Creed from the premises and go on to the characters that you've all been waiting for. The beautiful, the vivacious, the skin-tight dress of Sandra Peel. Now, how can you not fall in love with this beautiful girl? If you guys are into blondes like I am, of course I married one, always a good thing, then you'll know the appeal of this beautiful girl right here. Sharpen the pencil, take it out. Let's grab the normal color, the normal working color that a lot of animators and comic book artists use. Actually, I believe this to be just a standard trick based in common sense. Of course, it's not a trick, but a lot of us learn to think in construction and with the gesture, trying to get those things down that come out of our head. We see these flashes in our head, these semi-coherent images, and from there, a lot of us have learned to use this blue pencil right here as our thinking tool. And then later on, in the case of comic books, which is what I do, we'll slightly erase the blue pencil, and then we'll go over it with a regular HB or 2B or whatever lead, and tighten it up. And from there comes the inking, which is another art form that I'm determined not to see go the way of the dodo. Sandra Peel, okay, let's have her sitting. It's hard to make people sitting, so let's do that. Okay, I feel better already. Okay, so I have to get this thing in my mind first. Let me look at this paper and let's do something really hard that I'm barely capable of doing on my own. This is the gesture lines right here. I'm trying to get, before I'm going to do the mannequin, fill in the basic forms, I'm going to do the gesture lines. And once I get something that I think looks okay, always a challenge, then I'll proceed to do a more formalized figure construction of Sundra Sunnypeel.
We have a question about the way that Jack Kirby would draw his pages.
Okay.
He says,
we have a Kirby question here. Always good.
He says, if Kirby didn't lay out anything, he started at the top left and finished at the bottom right of a page. Then he would create a panel size, and then ... He's curious about the process.
Well, it sounds like you got the process down as good as I know it. Obviously, this is not the standard working practice of normal mortals here, of which we all are. Sunderpeel is going to require a little more fastidiousness. I haven't used that word in a long time, to make sure I'm getting everything as good as I can make it. She's kind of small on the page here. I didn't think she'd be that small. Well, we'll try to live with it. So if I get this down and I think it's okay, I'm going to just move in closer and closer and establish what I have to flesh out this figure right here. Good questions, guys.
We have another one that is saying, I know you like these artists, so did you ever draw Kirby's characters like Lancelot Strong, The Fly, or Bullseye? And he says, Western one, not modern Marvel one. Or Toth's Eclipso or Vanguard.
Have I ever drawn those? Well, I've drawn the Kirby characters many, many times. The only book I never got a chance to work on, due to the brilliance of the DC staff, was a New Gods book. That was going to be a lot of fun, but they had to decide things like what kind of paper it would be printed on, and I think that was it. How am I going to do this hand right here? Well, I don't know. So let's look at the hand. Okay, I kind of sort of know. Don't think this is not a challenge, folks, because it is. Standard Loomis head proportions here. But honestly, I really have to look at these carefully to make sure they're actually working the way that I need them to.
Someone's asking, do you lightbox on your Bristol board or go straight to inks?
That's a good question. We're getting some good ones this time around. When I was just starting out drawing comics, specifically with Nexus, I would lightbox something that I drew on tracing paper, and tighten up things from there with a normal HB 2H lead, 3B whatever. All those numbers that confuse me. But eventually, presumably with a little experience and getting comfortable with the process, I stopped doing that. What I do now is I go directly on the board with a pencil like this. And then when I get things fleshed out, I will, to my satisfaction, and everything looks good. Because remember, everything starts out like this right here. Then I'll go directly with this blue pencil get everything down the way I want it within the page and the panels that make up the page. And then I kind of erase this pencil a little bit right here, just to get rid of distracting lines. And then I'll go in with that other darker regular lead and take it from there. Head construction, how easy is it? Well, I don't think it's easy at all. And it's funny because I think a lot of artists might tell you this, which is kind of strange in itself, but it never seems to get a lot easier. And that makes no sense at all. Now I'm going to go in here. And carefully construct what I think is the right proportions for a sun repeal. Our beautiful female heroine. She's not a heron. Alex Soth would always talk about doing females. And it was always tough for him because he knew that one stray line, and this is true, can change the entire expression of a pretty female. And I'm going to change that mouth. It looks like she's saying something, but I don't want her to say anything, so I'm just going to close her mouth. Artists can do this kind of stuff.
We have a question asking, besides Hanna-Barbera cartoons like Space Ghost, what are some of your other favorite examples of animation?
Well, why am I laughing? Because when it comes to Japanese animation, everybody in Aunt Harriet's Dog has told me, well, I know you don't like Japanese animation, Steve, but where do you see this one? Well, it's never worked. My tastes are firmly rooted in what I grew up in. And thank God I grew up when I did, because I can't imagine a life without those strong influences. All the animators out there and what they do is to be commended. It's incredibly difficult work that is fairly unsung, especially in Japan. Well, and that's probably why they send everything overseas in America now, and have for a long time. But yeah, that's okay. Her lipstick is too strong. I'm going to have to get my point back again, which is probably going to break. You guys know how hard it is to do smiles? Well, don't take my word for it. Get out your smile book and look into it, and you'll see. The secret to something like this, her face, is precise proportions. Anything that's off, it won't look like her. There was a time when here's a little personal secret of the stuff I go through to hopefully improve. I drew 1,000 heads by the time I realized I didn't really know them that well. So for me, the solution is very simple. You just go back to basics. You study basics, and you reacquaint yourself with them, and you're good for a while, and then you forget them again. I was talking with Terry Austin about this. He thought that was pretty funny that I would bring this kind of stuff up. Let's see what she looks like with her eyes. It's a so-so kind of event here. Draw the back of the head before you put the hair on. I think these pencils specialize in breaking. It's in the contract. So here's her hair. Her banana peels, as they tend to look like. Blast these breaking leads. Well, that eye is a little confused there, so let's redo it. Coming up in these live streams is going to be something, again, that I think is pretty unique, and that is we're going to talk about things that most people get wrong when they're drawing stuff. One example is the eyes. Comic book artists in particular, and obviously animators with their cartoon characters, get used to drawing eyes that are just too big. They're not as big as you think they are. These are actually fairly big right here. But you've all seen people that have really big eyes, and it looks a little funny sometimes. Draw through if you value your life. And here come those bloody hands. Okay, how do those? Okay. We have to do some mental projection here, people. Always a fun thing to do in front of a crowd. I actually learned at some point to do that mental projection. But it's all based on fundamentals, as always.
We have someone asking if there's any suggestions or tips you can give artists about making sure the drawing, the figures don't look stiff or rigid.
Well, that's an easy one. I think I brought this up. In fact, I know I brought this up when I was doing the Alex Toth figure drawing breakdown. The story goes something like this: 1984 San Diego Comic Book Convention, when it was still fun. And I happened to see Alex walking around, Alex Toth. I said, Alex, I need your help in something. Can you come over to my table? So he did. And I said, tell me what you think about this drawing that I did in my sketchbook. He looked at it and says, if you don't have it there, you don't have it at all. And what he was pointing to was something that was very gesturized. It was very simple. It wasn't a finished drawing, but it had a unfinished gesture sense to it. And it's very clear what he meant at the time he told me that, because I understood it right away. If the gesture is stiff, then don't keep going forward when you know it's when you do the following steps after the gesture, the nice natural gesture drawing. It's not going to look any better. So that's how you avoid getting something stiff. Stiff is a word that these editors always throw around. It's a little stiff, Steve. It's a little stiff. You see how stiff it is? I suppose. I got some very valuable advice in the late 1970s. I think it was 70, make it 1980. I would go up to, I was in my early 20s, and I would work at a job, save up every cent I had, and spend it on getting to New York and meeting the people that did my favorite comics. And that's what I did. The guy that I was very big on at the time was the great master of kung fu artist Paul Gulacy. a guy that I still think is entirely unsung. By the way, when I do this this foot right here, remember what the foot looks like before the shoes are added in. There's that big sweeping curve. There's the instep. There's the heel, and then there's the actual that part of the foot. Are we getting tired? Okay, let's put some cast shadows on here. I think that's a reasonably okay drawing of Sunderpeel. If I was doing this for real, I'd have to. What would I have to do, Steve? Well, for one thing, I'd have to look at it very carefully. Get the mirror out. Where's the mirror? The mirror's not here. Well, the mirror's not here, but if I did have one, the mirror, I would just hold it up like this and look at it in reverse, and that's when you can see all your flaws. So how does one do this out of their head? How is it possible for the memory alone to construct a figure that isn't something you look at as a magazine clipping or whatever? How is it possible? Well, that's a really good question. And I'll answer it like this. Your brain is an incredible tool. Is that a mirror? So let's look at Sunderpeel here. It's not bad. Not bad. I think she needs a little more sway up here. You see animators doing this all the time. They're never happy. And neither are us comic book types. And that's part of what, if you want to add, some likewise shadows to her face. In comic books, these would be black. Or if you want to half-tone them, you do this feather and stuff, or you just kind of do a dry brush thing that kind of ends up looking like that. How's that hand looking? Well, it's pretty ridiculous. But like sunset prunes, we keep marching on.
We have a question that says, because of computer inking seems to become a lost art, I can still see you do it. Do you have any favorite inkers?
Well, rather than go into inker preference, let me just say that anytime some new technology comes around, there's going to be changes. That's just the way it works. Are we happy about it? Doesn't matter. All I can tell you is that I'm going to stay true to my roots and do what I like to do and have the most fun doing, and carry on the traditions of yesteryear when everything was hand-drawn with a pencil, on paper, and inked with a brush and a pen nib. This is one of literally 1,000 different poses here that I could do with Sundra.
Someone liked the logo on the mirror. It said logo mirror.
Oh, yeah, right. There's my little SR that I've had since the 6th grade. So there's my Sunderpeel. I don't happen to think it's a very good representation of basically the gesture, the pose. So we're going to try another one. I hope that's okay. Any objections, state them now, or forever hold your tongue. You guys want to try another one? All right, you talked me into it. Let's get out this big, fat blue pencil again, and let's try to get something down that I'm actually happy with. Because normally, if I'm happy with it, other people will be too.
I have a suggestion that says you should make a how-to study and practice to become a comic artist. Most books explain to you, but they don't actually show you how to draw comics.
Well, if they're going to explain it and they don't show you, that's not doing a great service to the artistic mind. Whenever I'm around people, namely the girl I married, She tries to explain things to me. Doesn't work. I say, Gino, just show me a picture, then I'll get it. So artists need to be shown things, and that's obviously the importance of these live streams, directly showing you how it's done, and even more important, explain to you how I learned to do it in the first place. We're getting real sticky down here. Let's see. As we're starting to fade with our energy here, despite that energy drink. Oh, we just passed an hour. You guys still hanging in there? Oh, and by the way, if you hang in there long enough, even longer than you are already, we're going to be doing an art giveaway. What that is yet to be determined, but hang in there and we'll find out what it is. Let's do a larger drawing here, okay? Now I already see something in my mind. Sometimes, normally these come very quickly, and I that's something that I don't know if it can be really explained how that occurs, but we're talking the human brain here. Let's get this gesture right first. Let's push that gesture even farther. So I'm going to erase some of this right here, wisely so. This pose actually starts at the feet. It comes up like this. You see how I'm going to change it? This gesture is going to go way forward because I think it's going to make a much better drawing. There. Is her head up or is it down? Oh, we can make it really down if we want. See how the options are endless here. Let's do something really crazy and just put her head way down here. She's being funny today. She's doing something goofy. Make sure the head is proportionate to the rest of the forms of the body. See, this is what awaits you if you practice hard, guys. I mean, drawing and art is supposed to be fun. A lot of people forget that, especially when you have jobs that are all about deadlines. We all know that the industry should be deadline oriented. As everyone working in comics today is seemingly forgot. Boy, the times they have so changed. If guys from the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, and some of the 70s before the hippies moved in, tried to not make it a publication date, you'd be crucified. Now it's standard practice.
Someone just bought the Nexus How to Draw book.
Did you hear that, guys? Now, how cool can some of these people be? While we are drawing from the How to Draw Nexus book, we actually had a guy that ordered the How to Draw Nexus book. Kudos and bravo to this exceptional fan here. Let's have her legs come a little forward. I think this is really important that I'm doing this other drawing of Sundra Peel. You can see how the reality of this process is coming across here. No, I drew her head like this, but for me to get orientated properly, I'm going to first draw it the way it's going to look from this angle, and then I'm going to move it this way. And properly orient myself with proper proportions here. I hear a giant blowhard coming up the steps. I think you can hear her now, too. You can hear her. So you can see everything's being constructed here. That is vital. Hello, Bigness. May I help you? Or may I not help you? There's no milk bones up here. Go away. This construction stuff is the secret of all drawing. And I don't care how many times I've drawn her. Doesn't matter. Now what kind of a look? Her eyes are going to be a big one here. Bigness here is going to entertain us with sound effects in the meantime. Let's see what's the look in her eyes that I want? Kind of a squint. She's kind of smiling. So let's bring the lower lids up. And get to, very, very carefully construct her head to make sure it's going to work out. So from here, I think we can zoom in for a kill, so to speak. All right, you guys talked me into it. Let's. Everything has got to be thought of dimensionally. See, I'm not drawing strands of hair yet. I'm drawing the overall basic thing. Let's have her hair coming around her head like that. I always like it when girls do that. So all this memorization, this incredible process of using your brain. Let's see if the lead's going to break now. If you can learn to draw females with a great deal of assurance, then you just think about it. You can have your dream girl come to life before your eyes. Hands. I have to do more hands. That's why you practice, guys. I'm keeping in mind the whole effect of the hand as I go in there. Let's keep the wedge, and everything else proper hand positions here. This is construction, guys. It's all construction, as you can see. Oh, she's gaining some weight there. I think she's highly offended by that. It kind of goes like this, okay? Let's draw through that because that's the way it's supposed to be constructed. And now I have to go up to her head, make sure it's done with some sense of something.
Someone named Chuck is saying, why when I draw figures, I draw too fast? Is it because a lack of knowledge of, is it a lack of knowledge of drawing the figure? He's asking. When he draws the figures, he draws it too fast.
Slow down. No charge. Okay, we seem to have pulled off the head okay, much better than last time. Make sure the ears are proportionate. The humming is no charge as well. Where does the hair start? Well, don't forget to get that entire head down first, because the hair rests over the entirety of something. I'm starting to lose my train of thought. That happens when you're working on stuff for too long. I used to go to workshops with great artists, And you can always tell when they're starting to, when they're trying to work too hard at using two parts of their brain, the right and the left side, those darn sides. I'll turn this right side up so you can see how her head looks. You know what? I don't want it like that. It's supposed to come around, and then there's her neck. Yeah, the hair is coming around, and it's kind of coming from the back and going like that. Drawing is more successful, so I'm not terribly embarrassed. She's got this unit right here on her pants. That's where she sticks her phasers and other instruments and accoutrements that she's in dire need of as she goes on mission. Because remember, she is a Marine, a trained Marine. Let's see. It looks like we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon. It is now at the hour mark. Not hour, hour. And let me pick a little bit more here before we move into raffle territory. We're going to give away a drawing that that I've done to one of the listeners out there, and this video is made possible by Patreon. So thanks to you Patreon members here. We've got some original art to give away to one of the Patreon members right here. I don't see a drum set here, nor do we have recorded music. So within this little box, within this little glass jar, these are hard to paint. Have you ever noticed that? We're going to pick a number right here, okay? And in order to make it nice and fair, I won't even look. Oops. Okay, the number I'm going to pick, this, so you know we're on the up and up here, is number 210. 210. And that human being's name happens to be, we're going to find out in a second here, without the drum roll.
Oh, we have to pick another one. It has Mom's name on it. Sister Mildred. She had to pick another one.
So my actual wife is the winner. Boy, that's nepotism if I ever saw it. How do you manage to get your wife's name out of all those? Okay, so here's the new one right here that is not going to a family member. 151. 151. I knew there was trouble when Mr. Producer started to laugh at that last number there.
151 goes to Doc Talipin.
Is there a doctor in the house? Doc Talipin is the winner of the sketch. And let's show him exactly what he's won. Oh, would you look at that? This is going back to the Alex Toth demo that I did a couple weeks ago, showing how, much like I'm showing here, how I break down figures. The Alex Toth way. The way everyone does it, except for Jack Kirby, because he's a genius and we're not. So, congratulations, Doc. Can I call on you for medical advice? Another thing that I want to mention before we go here, I know it's, you don't have to cry about it, is we're opening up the commissions again. And that means you guys have the ability to write in and request a whatever it might be for me to draw for you personally. This is how we support ourselves. This is how we keep the air conditioning on and the pool clean in the backyard, and all the other people and maids and butlers and the rolls that we keep in the garage working. Okay, keeping it fluid. So anyway, congratulations to Doc. I think that's going to wrap it up for now. Let's get a nice tight shot of Thunder Peel here, because I think this one actually works. And before we do that, the final touch. Those darn mouths. they have to be very, very simple, and because they can be very simple. So there's my gesture of Sandra Peel doing something out of character, or maybe in character. She's a pretty funny girl sometimes. I'm going to sign it. That's the hard part, signing the drawing. Steve Rude, September 8th? 7th, of course, I knew that. 2024. So when this video appears in the next millennium, you'll know exactly when it was done. Guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll be doing these regularly on Saturday. So at 1:30 my time here, you'll be well alerted ahead of time as to when what the subject matter is going to be, and we're going to be doing another drawing giveaway to somebody out there that is tuning in, which is always appreciated. That's it for now, guys. Let's meet here next week, Saturday at 1:30. Same bad time, same bad channel. Adios. Bye-bye.